There's always been music in my family. It's been, I think my grandfather used to play with Jimmy Shand. He was a Scottish guy, and so it goes back, like quite a few generations. I don't think I had a choice, really.
And how did you get into the group It Bites? How did that come about?
Well, we were just a bunch of guys playing around West Cumbria, doing doing like the club circuit and stuff, like the cabaret circuit. We used to do cover numbers, we'd play anything from like, Haircut 100 numbers to Paul McCartney numbers, Squeeze numbers. It's really interesting because I've just signed Squeeze to my record label.
Oh, right. So what goes around comes around, yeah.
We used to sing their songs, and it's like, they're amazingly talented people, and it's quite funny, how things turn out.
Yeah, and obviously, everybody knows you for calling all the heroes. How quickly did you get to that stage?
It's, I think it's really important to understand, like with the music industry, there's two modes. There's show business and there's music. And the two are very different. And the Calling All the Heroes single was a part of show business. The music industry grinds its wheels, and you do your little song and dance, but which happens very quick, but it also disappears very quick as well.
Mm.
So what I've done, I've spent my life is about music, not about show business.
And so once the band broke up, it wasn't a case of going, right, we've done that, go and get a 9-to-5 job. You really wanted to stay in that business.
Well, yeah, I do a lot of other things. I don't. You guys, I don't usually do interviews or anything, so nobody really knows what I'm doing. But I'm taking my master's degree next year in psychology. I have my own record label. Like I train horses. I do a lot of things. I also, I played on Lauryn Hill's last record. I've done Santana's last record. I've played with Robert Plant for a while. I played with Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I've done an awful lot of things. Like the life doesn't stop if you haven't got a single in the charts. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yes, yeah, I understand that.
Like most of your work, like the things you see on the pop charts is just, it's a very, for the most part, it's a very kind of fickle little world.
You did take a break from the music business for a while, didn't you? And
yeah.
You've come back into it now.
Yeah.
Why did you decide to come back into it? Because I get the impression you got pretty cheesed off with it by the end.
Well, I'm more or less cheesed off with what I was doing. It's not, I think everybody, I hit 35 years old, and I think everybody, almost, I guess in psychological terms, we suffer like a psychological death where we just, the life we've lived up until that point just gets very boring and tedious. And so you have to, it seems to be a thing that happens to everybody. You just can't take it anymore.
Yeah.
You need to just get, a lot of people change jobs at that time. They change careers. Like if you study people's lives, maybe even your own, a lot of the times what happens around about anywhere between 33 and 38, many people, completely have a complete change of direction in their lives.
And then you came back into music. So
yeah,
you obviously missed it eventually.
I think what happened to me was I changed the reasons why I did it. That's what happens in my 3-year absence. I changed the reasons why I did it because I went away to Vermont and I bought I bought some property and I bought a log cabin and I trained horses for 3 years. And it gave me a complete, I studied psychology also, and it gave me a complete different view of why I did music. And so when I come back to music, I'm not doing it in terms of like fame or stuff like that. I'm doing it because that's what I do.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? In the same way that an apple seed grows into an apple tree, it's like I think we all have certain things in us that we do. And, I can't really get away from myself as a musician because that's something I do.
How would you describe your music now? What are you trying to get across, I suppose, with this latest CD, for example, Man?
Well, Man is actually, my music is not for everybody, I'll tell you that, because it's, most people don't like to think as deeply or as, most people don't like to bother with the things that I bring up. And I actually don't blame them. And I think it's ridiculous to expect everybody to think in the same way that I do, or because basically having a psychological background now,
mm-hmm.
a lot of my songs are about problems within the self, and most people just like to put on a record and have a dance and have a few drinks. So my audience is very limited in that 100%.
And talking of the audience, I mean, the record company, along with the publicity, sent me this tale of this man who's going to fly from Japan to see you in Whitehaven and then back again,
Right.
which is incredible devotion, isn't it? Were you aware of that?
Well, again, I think when you touch people on a certain level, I mean, there's certain artists who I would literally do that for too. There's some artists in the world, artists like David Sylvian, I would travel anywhere to see him. I think he's brilliant, and because he speaks to me so deeply, that's why his music really resonates with me. And I think when what I lack in numbers, I think I make up for in intensity in terms of the people who listen to my music.
Yeah.
They're very, very, very nice people. They're very complimentary, and there's lots of stories of things like that, like the guy coming from Japan. And I'm very grateful for that because it allows me to keep doing it.
And do you get to come back to Cumbria very often yourself, apart from obviously this gig that you're doing?
Recently I've been coming back. I've been, I think I've been coming. I've been rediscovering Cumbria. I've been rediscovering, my old roots. I've been going to visit places where I used to swim as a kid and stuff like that. Going down to the rivers or going to see, old, little places where I used to play when I was like 9 years old. And it's kind of like I'm on the return. I think Cumbria is the most amazingly beautiful place, and I think sometimes, when you grow up there, you miss it. You miss the beauty in it. But when I've been all over the world now. From the pyramids of Mexico to the Japanese temples and everywhere. I've been all over the place. And still, when you come back and you drive through Wasdale or Windermere and places like that, it's just like, it's incredibly beautiful.
One thing I've noticed from listening to your music is that you can hear your accent, which is nice, because a lot of times people from all over the world will sing and they just sound English or American, don't they? Is that something important to you, that comes through?
Yeah, and I think that's down, 'cause I think a lot of my music is about accepting yourself. I spent a long time running away from myself when I was younger, like in my 20s, and so it's important for me to sing in my own accent because that's my truth. That's who I am, and I think everybody's got a story to tell. Everybody, especially musicians and artists. So I don't see the point in telling someone else's story. It's like I have my own. Do you know what I mean? This is how I talk, so this is how I sing.